And good evening, everybody. Welcome to a first edition of the Pacelli Coaches Show, presented by the Beck Center. I am Richard Holdridge, and I'm here with the cross-country coach, Coach Maggie Horton. How you doing, Coach?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. Before we get into the season, just give us a little bit about your background. How long you've been the coach here, and what is your coaching background?
Sure. I started out for the past 8 years. I've started out coaching middle school cross country. And then this is my first year coaching the high school. I coach both the boys and the girls team. I love running. I've done, a couple of halves and done a lot of things to try to learn how to be a better coach with these kids and teach them just, to actually like running instead of thinking it's more like a punishment and stuff like that. So.
Well, I tell you what, Coach, in the South here, the weather gets pretty bad, especially in the summertime, upper 90s, sometimes in the triple digits. Does that affect the training and getting prepared for a season?
Oh, absolutely. It just depends on if it is too hot, we have to really watch our water. They really need to be hydrating every day, sometimes more so than they would on a normal basis, especially to make sure they're prepared for this hot weather. Because especially in middle school, they are afternoon races, so it's in the heat of the day. High school, there are some afternoon races and stuff, and their bodies just have to be prepared. I've seen kids come, from more up north that aren't used to this weather, and it takes a real toll on their bodies and stuff. So you just have to make sure they're eating right, make sure they're hydrating, and just taking in the right amount of different kinds of salts and sugars and stuff, just to make sure their body can keep up.
Now, Coach, you said this was your first year as the coach of both the boys and the girls cross-country teams. Where are some of the returning runners that came back from last year? Obviously, they compete in the GIAA. They had some pretty good runners that placed well at state. Mm-hmm. But this year, do you have any returning runners they're ready to take off this season?
Yeah, so for high school, for the boys, we have Kai Christie. He is returning from last year. He ran this past weekend at Brookstone Invitational and at the Cougar Classic, and he placed 8th overall out of about 100 boys with a time of 2012, which was fantastic.
Fantastic.
Just amazing. We have a couple of, several girls from my middle school team that were 8th graders last year have moved up into the freshmen this year. Plus we have Ava Camp, who is returning from last year, and she placed 7th overall for the girls. I can't exactly remember her time exactly right now, but it was, I think, around in the 22-minute miles for her 3 miles. Kate Pryor, who was an 8th grader last year, she is a 9th grader this year. She placed 5th overall for the girls, which was fantastic. And Gracie Davenport, who is an 8th grader last year, who is currently a 5th grader or 9th grader this year, she placed 14th overall. So very, very, very good.
And by the way, Ava Camp just happens to be on the flag football team as well. So
yes.
I know that the state meet is actually going to be October the 25th. Mm-hmm. It's going to be at Middle Georgia College in Macon, competing with all the teams in the GIAA in 3A. When it comes to preparing yourself for these meets that come up, who are some of the teams that are in these meets? Are you competing against any of the Muskogee County schools, or is it all just GIAA schools?
No, there is so like last weekend we did compete against Columbus High, and as well as Brookstone and Calvary. But yeah, so I've seen them on the roster. Columbus High is on some of the other rosters and stuff. We are going, the school that we are going to this weekend, they're a GHSA school as well. So there'll be a lot of other teams. I think there's 64 teams competing in the race this weekend. So.
Coach, as you can tell, we're at the Beck Center, not too far from campus. A lot of traffic here on Macon Road and Box Circle. So the question comes to, where are some of the routes that you have your runners compete on? I mean, do they run on campus? Is there like a designated place that you want to try to get away from campus? Like what are some of the routes that the runners feel comfortable running?
Yeah, so we trained all summer, both middle school and high school, and we trained at different parks. So we go to Lake Bottom, we go to Flat Rock, we've been to Cooper Creek. We've also been out to Britt David, which is a great one for hills and stuff. We've been to Standing Boy once this summer. Now that school's back in session, though, we do try to, we do stay on campus a lot more now. We do go on Saturdays to some of those selected parks when we don't have races, but on campus, we run around. Middle school stays pretty much on campus, but we have a little loop that runs around by Outreach, down by the football field, by Outreach, up K Circle, up Trinity Drive Hill. There's a big steep hill over there. They come back around. Yeah, they like to do that. Yeah, they love to do those hills though. Sometimes it's kind of fun. And the high school, they branch out a little bit further. We call it the U-Haul Loop, which is right down Box Road, and they're just very cautious. We have to be very cautious though.
Yeah, definitely. As somebody that ran cross country in high school, there were different routes. There were paved routes. There were rocky, sometimes gravel. What are some of the surfaces that the runners tend to run, and what do they enjoy the most? As far as, obviously paved is easier, but sometimes it could be hard on your feet.
Yeah, they really enjoyed going out to Standing Boy, I think, the most this summer. Just because they like being in the wooded areas. They like that more trail-like course. They really, it helps them watch their footing more and things like that. So, I mean, I think that's the one that they prefer the most, is when you have more of a rugged trail.
All right, Coach, let's talk equipment. Obviously, from the background, Pacelli's a Nike school.
Yes.
Nike was known as a running shoe company before Michael Jordan.
Yes.
Before 1984, Nike was the running company for running shoes. Pretty much the running shoes. What are some of the running shoes that they're wearing? And is it like conscious of like how different styles of runners, they want like something that's light on their feet, something with like an air sole in it. Like, what are some styles of running shoes, obviously Nikes, that the runners will like to prefer to run? And when it comes to running shoes as part of your equipment, how is that being funded? Is like with Booster Club, like what are some of the ways of funding running shoes? Because when you're running constantly, the wear and tear on those running shoes, you definitely got to keep replacing them over and over again.
Right. Well, I mean, they get their own running shoes. We did have a camp coming in this summer. It's Soul Roots Running Camp. I've gotten real close to the owners. They actually have a shop in Carrollton. And so they bring a pop-up shop, and they did really awesome about discounting their shoes that they brought in this summer, and they would actually fit their feet. They brought their equipment to fit their feet. I mean, some kids prefer more of a cushion or a high arch. Some like them, just depends on the way their foot was fitted. Hokas were a huge style, that a lot of people like to run in now. Nike, of course. But you do see some Reeboks here and there of the running shoe too. I know I have run in Reeboks before, and I really liked them. But yeah, a lot of the kids do have Hokas. Brooks. They like Brooks too. It just depends on their foot. So yeah, they do run through them. Some of them though too, for some of these courses, like the one we're going to run in this weekend, we have, they'll wear their spikes. So they did have spikes too. So some of them prefer that. Some of them don't. It just depends on how comfortable they are running in them, and things like that. And it does depend on the type of surface they're running on too.
And just for the record, Nike actually provides the uniforms for Pacelli. It has nothing to do with the running shoe. I was just making a joke. But yeah, whatever running shoe, like Adidas, Reebok, Nike, I mean, sky's the limit. I mean, there's great running shoe companies in this area that provide that, and they do a great service.
Oh, yeah.
I do want to talk about the cross-country invitationals. As a cross-country runner, I know that I was excited, especially on the start line, to have fans cheer at the start and cheer at the finish. It was a lot of fun. Talk about like the fan support, obviously family members, but students like cheering on their fellow athlete. What is the fan support like at a cross country invitational?
It's really, it gets exciting, when they're starting out, you get real excited, the runners are ready to go and stuff. It just, when they do have one or two loops that they have to do, It's nice to see them coming through, cheering them on that last loop that they have to complete before the race is over, or the last mile that they have to do. But really at the end, when they really get that last little bit of momentum and they are trying to like really go as fast as they can to get across that finish line, it's really fun to be sitting there and people cheering you on to see, especially if they're like right neck and neck, to see who's gonna get there first.
Do all the runners run at the same time, or do they break it up? Like middle school will run and then the high school will run? Or
yes. So the girls, so for middle school, the girls will run against the girls, the boys will run against the boys. Same for high school, then they'll have their own races. So like this past weekend, we had 4 separate races. So we had middle school for 2 races, and then high school had their 2 races.
All right. Well, just so you know, I mean, obviously, I mean, we definitely support cross country here. It would be hard logistically to live stream a cross country event, but
yes.
I know that it is fun, and definitely looking forward to seeing an event. Just let everybody know when is the next invitational and who are some of the schools in there.
Okay. Yeah. So we're going to, it's called the Bob Blasto Invitational. It's in Whitesburg, Georgia this weekend, just past Noonan. It's actually on, it's at McIntosh Park Reserve. So it's on a big park. The course looks pretty good and nice. And I think they do one big loop. And some of the schools like Brookstone's going, Calvary's going. There, I think I saw Veterans High was going. There's 64 schools. There's a lot of schools going. So
yeah.
It's like, a little overwhelming when you look at it at first, but they are breaking it up. There's going to be actually 2 varsity races. There's going to be one that starts at 7:40 for the boys. First varsity will be at 7:45. Then the girls is at 8 o'clock. And then the second round of varsities will be at 8:25 for the boys, and then 8:45 for the girls. Then it'll be followed by, you'll have the boys JV race for all 64 schools that qualify for the JV, and then the girls. So to follow after that. So,
well, Coach, good luck this season.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the first Pacelli Coaches Show of the fall season.
Awesome.
And looking forward to seeing the cross country teams out there.
They're doing great. We're excited. It's going to be a great season.
Absolutely. As Pacelli cross country coach for the boys and the girls coach, Maggie Horton. Thank you for tuning in to the Pacelli Coaches Show presented by the Beck Center, and we will see you next time.